What's up, everybody? I got a fun one for you today. A new product, something that I've wanted for so long. I'm so glad it's finally done. It's this Gen 3 Mitsubishi Montero electronic stability control systems kill switch. Let me show you what it's all about. If you've ever wanted to turn off all of the nanny features on your Gen 3 Montero, this is going to do it. In 2003, the Gen 3 mid-cycle refresh, known as the NP model, that's 2003 to 2006, came out with the Mitsubishi traction control system. To be more specific, it's the M-ASTC system. That stands for Mitsubishi Active Stability and Traction Control System. Now, this system is really good. It's made up of three different components. You've got your ABS, your anti-lock brakes. You've got your ASC, which is Active Stability Control, also known as Active Skid Control. And you have a TC, Active Traction Control. Now, ABS, anti-lock brake system, most people are really familiar with that. Cars have had them for a long time, and that just keeps your brakes from locking up when you have to step on them really hard, especially in loose conditions. So let's just set that aside for a second. Let's talk about ASC and ATC, the Active Skid Control and Active Traction Control. These two systems get confused quite often, and that's understandable because they're very similar. Now, active stability or skid control, that one is geared towards stopping skidding, oversteer, understeer on slippery roads when you're on pavement. The active traction control, its job is to limit wheel spin and be a tool when you're off-road. So when you're off-roading, if you get a wheel up in the air, and that wheel's still on the ground, let's say, then all of the power is going to take the path of least resistance. It's going to go to the wheel that's in the air, and that wheel that actually has the ability to get traction because it's on the ground, it'll do nothing. It's getting almost no power. And so you'll just sit there. With active traction control, it will apply brakes to the wheel that's in the air, which will therefore send power to the wheel that's on the ground, and it'll pull you through that obstacle. Both systems, ASC and ATC, they utilize a system of being able to apply brakes to any wheel that needs it, as well as to reduce or cut engine power. So the confusion is totally understandable because both systems have two main ways of functioning: applying brakes to specific wheels and cutting power. Adding to the confusion is that they share the same symbol on the instrument cluster. It's this one right here with like the car skidding down the street. And you do have a switch in the cabin for that. And if you hit that, you will get an icon that has that symbol and the word off below it on the dash. So even if you push that button in the cab, that turns off active stability control. It does not turn off traction control. If you put it in 4 low, same thing will happen. It'll turn off active stability control automatically. And the reason is because it can be a hindrance off-road. But there's still no way to turn off traction control. There's no way to turn that off on the vehicle right out of the box. Even if you pull fuses in the engine bay, it still won't disable it completely. The only way that I found to completely kill traction control is to unplug any wheel speed sensor. So I'm coming in the passenger side wheel well. I have an ARB bumper, so it's going to look a little bit different. For a lot of you, your fender liner is going to keep coming down further, but you can see the wire going to the wheel speed sensor. And then just behind this, you can see right there is the connector. If you unplug that, it will kill the entire M-ASTC system, those three components of it: ABS, ASC, and ATC. If you're going to do it though, I would recommend keeping like a Ziploc bag and some rubber bands so that after you unplug both ends, you can cover them up. So when you're off-roading, you're not going to get any dirt and grime in there. You can also get to the rear ones. They're kind of up along the frame. You'll just have to lay on your back right about there and you'll look up and you'll see it. So for the longest time, I wished that there was just a cabin switch that I could just push a button, kill everything if I wanted to kill everything, including traction control, rather than have to get out of the vehicle, unplug a wheel speed sensor, cover it up from getting dirt in there, remember to reconnect it when I'm done. And that is what this does. It is completely plug and play. But first, before I get into the installation, let's talk about why would you want to disable the traction control. The traction control is an amazing system in the Gen 3. It gives it incredible off-roading capabilities right out of the box, bone stock. Because of the traction control system, it can go a lot of places. But there are a couple situations, a couple types of terrain where it can become more of a hindrance than a help. And it is when the terrain is soft, very deep. So right now we're out in the cinders. Now this is a very unique kind of landscape. Not a lot of places on earth like this. But if we look here, the terrain is super, super deep, and it's this soft volcanic cinder. Much more common for most people is going to be sand, beach sand, river bottoms, sand dunes. That is where the traction control system can struggle. Another place is in deep snow. So what happens is the traction control system is designed to limit wheel spin. But when you're on deep, loose surfaces, you're trying to keep the RPMs up. You're trying to have a lot of wheel spin. You're trying to have those wheels turn in, and stay on top of that surface. And if they slow down, they can start to dig in, kill your momentum, and get you stuck. So the last thing that you want when you're trying to bomb up a big hill or drive in a place where it's really soft and loose is for the system to freak out and start applying brakes and start killing your throttle. So before we go any further, because of the kind of litigious society that we live in today, I do have to have a disclaimer. You will have to accept the disclaimer on the page on the looseoverland.com site before you can purchase this product. But I do have to say this product is for off-road use only. You are disabling systems that Mitsubishi designed to keep you safe. They are safety systems. That said, we know, as we just discussed, that out here off-road in these certain situations, these systems can actually be less safe because they can get you stuck. They can kill your momentum maybe when you're cresting sideways on a dune hill, and the last thing you want is to stop right there because then you could roll down sideways. So this needs to be something that, you use your head about, you use it when it's appropriate. Do not use it on the road. It's for off-road use only. Before we get into the installation, which is incredibly simple, let me show you in the cabin what it looks like. I've got my switch installed right here. This is what you're going to get in the kit. You're going to get a factory looking switch that's going to fit in no problem into any of your switch blanks, as well as the wire harness that'll plug into the wheel speed sensor. And so it says ABS off. And let me show you what happens when I push it. You can take a look at my dash. Right now, I'm in 4 low. That's why the ASC symbol off is illuminated. I'm going to push the electronic stability control system's kill switch right now. Here we go. Now you can see 2 more warning lights illuminated, the anti-lock and this other M-ASTC symbol. So those lights are going to come on, those 3 orange lights. They're always going to be on when the switch is working, when you have killed the M-ASTC system. So that means there are no electronic aids governing how the car drives the traction control right now. You have taken a 21st century vehicle and you have turned it into a 20th century vehicle. You are just giving it power, and the wheels are going to turn, and they're not going to brake by themselves, and the engine's not going to cut throttle on you. It is old school at this point. Now, yes, as you can see, anti-lock brake light is on. That means you have no ABS. That is unfortunate. I really can't think of any reason why I would ever want to disable the ABS system. I can't really think of any downsides. Unfortunately, because of the way that this unit works, it ties into the wheel speed sensor. So when we disconnect a wheel speed sensor with this switch, ABS can't function either because the system can't read what that wheel is doing. It is just an unfortunate and innocent bystander that gets taken out in this process. Really all we would want to kill is the ASC and ATC, but unfortunately ABS is just along for the ride. Let's say you're all done off-roading and you want to restore your electronic stability systems and you want to turn those lights off. Well, here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to push the switch, focus, there we go. You're going to have to push the switch again. And notice that nothing has happened. The system is not restored yet. We have to turn off the car, and then we have to restart the vehicle. Okay, there we go. So those lights turned off. Again, that one's always going to be on for me because I'm in 4 low right now. If I wasn't in 4 low, that light would be off. But you have to restart the vehicle after pushing the switch again. So this is really cool. I mean, just getting back here today, there were plenty of times where I was coming down a hill and the tire would dip into like a loose, soft section and the traction control would start activating and start braking wheels, and it kind of makes you shimmy back and forth and everything. So there are times where you don't want that, where it just kind of kills things for you. In fact, if you have an experience where this traction control system has ever become a hindrance to you off-road, post it down below in the comments. I know I've experienced quite a few, but I'd love to read when this system was kind of a pain for you guys. But again, most of the time, the traction control system is amazing on hard terrain, on rocks, boulders, anything but deep, soft sand or snow. It's really good. So, you know, don't think that I'm talking bad about the traction control system. It's really good. But it's just this one use case where it can become a problem. Now let me show you installation, because it couldn't be simpler. Here's what you're gonna get inside your bag. You're gonna get a long wiring harness. We've got over 9.5 feet here, so you can pretty much go to any wheel speed sensor that you want. Then you're gonna get this smaller wiring harness, which plugs into the back of the switch, and you've got your cabin switch. So basically, you're gonna plug these big connectors into the wheel speed switch, and then you're going to run your cable into the cabin, and these smaller harnesses are going to plug right into here. It doesn't matter which wire goes to which. And then this green side will plug right into the back of the switch. That is it. And because of the simplicity of this installation and the way that the switch is designed and the wiring, the one drawback is that it is not lighted. So this switch is just always going to look like this. Doesn't matter if the system's working, doesn't matter if the headlights are on, it's not going to be lighted. That's the one drawback. But introducing that feature would complicate things quite a bit. So just want to state that. Okay, so coming in through the driver side wheel well, it doesn't matter which wheel speed sensor you get to. I'm just showing you on this one, but you can use any one you like. Here is the wheel speed sensor. Now this is going to look probably a little different on your vehicle, again, because they have the ARB bumper. I have cut the fender liner right off here. Yours is going to keep coming down, and this is going to be covered up. You're not going to be able to see this. You can see where the fender liner used to clip into, and it kind of covered this up. So don't worry. If you don't know how to remove your fender liner, I will link in the description to a front bumper removal video that I did a long time ago. And the very first step in that is removing the fender liner. But basically, it's just some push clips. You can see right here, you kind of get a screwdriver in there, pop the center section down, and then you can get a pry tool around the outside section and pull the whole clip out. So you will just need to pull that back so that you can get to this wire harness. You're going to unplug the harness from itself. So those were the two factory plugs. And then you're just going to plug in on both of those the corresponding side on the wire harness that comes in your kit. And this is awesome because it's obviously the right kind of connector. It's going to be waterproof. It's all set to go. And it is also, as you can see, the wires are inside of this protective sheathing, which is going to help out a lot as well. So I've got mine plugged in, and then they go up through here into the engine bay. They come up through here, they run along, they come underneath the brake booster, and here is my cable right there. And then I drilled a hole, see if I can get you in there, in the firewall, right there. I drilled that hole in the firewall. There is another one that I drilled in the firewall, and I put a rubber grommet around it just to keep things looking cleaner and also to protect any wires from rubbing on any like sharp metal through there. But anyways, you can drill a hole in your firewall. I'll kind of give you an idea of where I'm at here. So if you're looking for a safe place to drill, and this comes in above the pedals, or if you don't want to drill a hole through your firewall, you could bring the cable over to this side. You can follow your antenna cable right here, and you could see if you can expand that or pass it through that existing hole in your firewall to get it into the cabin. And another common place that people come into the firewall is right here underneath this big boot. There's a big wire harness that goes through there. You could, as I've done here on a different line, this is for my trailer brakes, punch in and go through there as well. So then once you've got the end of that wire harness coming through, you're simply going to figure out where you want to put your switch. If you want to put it here, if you want to put it over here, one of these blanks, And then you're just going to connect that harness to these terminals. And then this side will clip right into the back of your switch and you will be ready to rock and roll. If you're wondering how to take this stuff apart to get to these right here, I will link a video in the description that covers all that. I'll also going to link the video in the description where it's the front bumper removal video, but right at the beginning of that video, it shows you how to remove the fender liners and the front wheel wells if you're needing that. So that's going to do it for this video. Really cool new addition to my vehicle that I'm really happy to have. It's something that I've wanted for a long time. You can find it at lusaoverland.com. Again, guys, just be safe with it. Off-road use only. It is much more useful than just doing donuts. It's good for these certain situations, from keeping you safe from rolling over, from getting stuck, all that stuff on loose terrain. But just be safe with it. And if you have any questions, let us know. We'll be happy to help. And you can find this again, of course, on lusaoverland.com. All right, we'll see ya.